Formula One heads away from Japan and goes to the Doha Desert for the second time. It's the Qatar Grand Prix. So just a few races left then in this year's campaign. Qatar followed then by America, 2 sprint races back-to-back. Mexico before the final sprint in Brazil. Then back to America on Las Vegas. The season rounds out at the end of November in Abu Dhabi. Max Verstappen leads the championship and could clinch it this weekend. He's on 400 points. Sergio Perez on 223. Hamilton's closing him in for second in the title. Alonso ahead of Sainz now after that win in Singapore. Sainz now ahead of his teammate Leclerc. Norris and Russell level on points. Piastri, Stroll and Gasly round out the first half. On the second half, Esteban Ocon ahead of Albon. Then it's Hülkenberg, Bottas, Zhou, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Lawson the last with points. Sargent, De Vries and Ricciardo pointless. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way, 623 points. They are the champions this year. Mercedes have 305 with Scuderia Ferrari 285. Aston Martin on 21 with McLaren 172. And then we get Alpine ahead of Williams. And then it's Haas, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri. Let's take a look around the Losail International Circuit here in Qatar. First used back in 2021, not modified since MotoGP started here in 2004. Get a good exit out of the last corner, a double apex before you hurtle down the start-finish straight, past the new pit complex on the right, on the left the new grandstand. It's a long run down towards turn 1, heavy on the braking zone, it sort of filters into a double. It does turn 1, flick the car in once and then correct it mid-corner. Gently back on the throttle as you come down in towards turns 2 and 3, left-hander followed by a very quick flick to the right as well before it hurtles down. That's past the first sector point, hard on the brakes around about 70 metres, flick the car in again as you get through 1, 2 and 3 consecutives at the right. Into the left past the long lap limit from MotoGP, the heaviest braking point on the track, downhill, then back on the power and watch as the car just flicks through the middle sector. Absolutely fantastic. It's difficult to overtake, but this section of the track flows beautifully together. Drivers love it as you hurtle back down the brakes, flick the car into the left, then gradually get back on the power through the fastest segment on this circuit as well. It's great on MotoGP bikes, it's great in Formula One cars. As you go right, and right again as well, all trying to keep that toe together. And it's so tight, that third right-hander in that complex. Flat out as you come bow into the last corner once again, down the brakes, flick the car in, gradually get back on the power, resume your normal line, open up the DRS, hurtle down the straight, and that is a lap of the Losail International Circuit. Hello everybody and welcome to the weekend preview for the Qatar Grand Prix of 2023. We came here of course in 2021 with a title fight that this weekend actually provided a very much interesting appearance. Verstappen of course getting a penalty, being sent to the back of the grid as well. Hamilton taking victory. This time however, as we come here for our second ever event in Losail, it is a chance for Max Verstappen to become world champion for a third time. His first title was controversial, his second title was confusing, his third title looks set to be decided on a Saturday in a sprint race as well. Clearly can't win the championship a normal way. Let's hear from the drivers though and what they thought in the press conference.
Hello and welcome everybody to the drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Qatar Grand Prix. 2 groups coming your way, and here is group number 1. Closest to me, Zhou Guanyu. Then we have Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly. Very warm welcome to you all. Now Nico, let's start with you. I want to start with a former winner here in Losail. Of course, it was back in 2009 in the GP2 Championship, but what are your memories from back then?
Yeah, good memories. The result was good, but I remember the track was fun, very fast, very flowing, good curb riding, and I enjoyed it back then. So looking forward to obviously get out there this time round, a little bit more hot and in a faster car, but happy to be here.
How will that previous experience help you? Because of course you weren't racing in 2021.
Yeah, it's always good to have a little bit of track knowledge rather than from zero. So definitely, it's a better place to start from. It's obviously a few days ago, so I'll have to refresh it quickly with the sprint weekend. Obviously, only one practice session. So yeah, challenging, hectic weekend ahead for everyone.
Now look, you've been on the sim. I don't know whether you've walked the track yet, but give us your first impressions of the track today, and what you think you're going to need from your car to be quick.
I think the track hasn't really changed since back then. What happened around, obviously the paddock, grandstands and the infrastructure around has been upgraded, as you can see. So that's nice that they made a good effort and helped the infrastructure. Car-wise, you need a lot of downforce, good balance, the usual things.
I mean, if you're quick at Suzuka 2 weeks ago, will you be quick here?
I think there's a good chance for that. Yep. But unfortunately, we weren't too quick.
Look, not long to go though, Nico, because of course you've got some upgrades coming at the next race in Austin. I guess they can't come soon enough.
Yeah, exactly. We're obviously anticipating those ones, and it's been a long time coming, and looking forward to that a lot. So this is the last weekend with kind of the old package and car, so we try to survive as good as we can, and then all eyes on Austin and the rest.
Final one from me. It's your teammate's birthday today.
Yeah.
Giving him a present. Nice welcome.
You got a cake and I have a other special gift still later. It's a personal one.
You're going to share it with us?
It's a toilet brush.
Is that an in joke? That's an in-Haas joke, I think.
Exactly. Not sure you want to know details.
Nico, thank you. Look, best of luck for the rest of the weekend for you. And Checo, can we come to you now? Because you were also in that GP2 race back in 2009, which Nico won.
I won the day after.
Yeah, you did. Split the honours. And of course, you were racing here 2 years ago as well. Just give us your thoughts coming into the weekend. And the car was quick in Suzuka, as Nico says, means it should be quick here as well.
Yeah, I think so. I do believe that it's going to be a similar trend in the high speed with a lot of high speed content. Obviously, conditions of the track are going to be very different, and it's going to be an interesting weekend. With FP1 and then straight into qualifying, we will probably find that 3 seconds slower track in FP1, with all the sand on it. So it will be an interesting one also going into the night for quali. I do expect a very interesting weekend overall.
Checo, what is your mindset coming into this weekend? Because it's been a difficult couple of races for you in Asia. So how are you feeling coming into this one?
Yeah, Asia wasn't good for me at all. It's no Singapore and obviously Suzuka, but I think we've learned a lot what went wrong in Suzuka. So I do expect to be in a much better position in this weekend.
Checo, tell us a little more. What have you learned through your discussions with the team since Suzuka?
Yeah, it's mainly the direction we took with the setup of the car. We overclamped a few things, and now looking back at it, we do understand where it went wrong. And I really hope that we are able to have a much straightforward weekend in here.
And this is the first time we've had you in the press conference since Red Bull won the Constructors' Championship. How different does this title success feel compared to last year?
Well, no difference at the end of the day. It's great to keep that momentum going in the team. I think that has been something incredible as a team to achieve, because I'll say that last year was harder to get it, because certainly Ferrari had a faster car than us, at least for more than half of the season, and we still managed to get it. But the way we got this one, I think with a more dominant car, they're just different, but at the end of the day, they mean the same.
And Max can win the Drivers' Championship this weekend. How important is P2 for you?
Well, it's important because that's the best I can get now. So I think all the drivers in here want to get the best possible season, and more than that, to me, it's very important to finish the season on a high, because that only helps the next year, the start of next year. So to me, it's very important to get on top of it and make sure that we are able to deliver in the next 6 races.
All right. Thank you, and best of luck this weekend. Pierre, coming to you now, if we could. You've been back in Qatar since we last raced. Of course, you were here for the World Cup final at the end of last year. Apart from the result, was it happy memories? Tell us about
turning the knife inside right now. No, I must say it was an incredible sport event, probably most beautiful sport event I've been to. You know, it was such an intense game. A World Cup at stake, ups and downs throughout the whole game, and really believed at some point we were gonna get it, and unfortunately it didn't come our way in the end. But no, it was a great time in Qatar, and I am definitely happy to be back.
Talking of intense games, you were playing paddle yesterday, I understand. The paddle bug seems to be spreading along the pit lane. How was it? Who won?
Well, we had he was our neighbor. Nico was playing on the court next to us. There was quite a few drivers actually. Singapore as well were quite a few drivers. We decided to go for a game, which turned out to be pretty good for me. Nice wins, and it was definitely good fun, and also just to get some time out, getting some workout, definitely it's gonna be tough physically this weekend. So I think in the end I ended up spending 2.5 hours on the court. I loved it so much. So it was a good exercise.
In 33-degree heat as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just want to get the body used to the temperature. So it's kind of very intense, and probably didn't expect it to be as warm as it is. So it was good to get some early exercise in.
Now, Pierre, can we throw it back 2 weeks to that last lap in Suzuka when you were asked to give a position back to your teammate? You seemed unhappy about that after the race. Having debriefed with the team, do you still feel unhappy?
Everything has been discussed, and I'll leave it there.
What are the rules of engagement now within Alpine?
As I said, everything has been discussed, and I have no further comment on that yet.
Okay. I'm going to move on to. Let's go to Enstone then. You get back from Suzuka, and Renault boss Luca De Meo came to Enstone in the UK to give a speech to the team. You and Esteban were there. How inspiring was that?
I was at the simulator on that day, and I think it was definitely very inspiring. Keep to push the team forward, and pushing for change and improvement. So it was, I think, very positive, and it was great to be there, all united as a team.
And final one from me, let's talk about this weekend, performance of the car, and also you were one of quite a few drivers who had a puncture here last time. Are you concerned about that coming into the weekend?
It was definitely a challenge last time out in 2021. So I think we'll have to keep an eye on this quite aggressive curves. I think some of them have been changed. So it's not really something we too worried about, but obviously it stood out on that particular track compared to others. So we'll keep a close eye. But last time out I started in second. We had a great qualifying. It was definitely a positive weekend, and Alpine had a very good race with Fernando finishing on the podium and Esteban in the top 5. So I think we know the team has good records here on this track, and hopefully it can still be the case this year.
All right, thank you. No last lap swap with your teammate here. Thank you, Pierre. Fernando, coming to you. No paddle for you while you've been here?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Means you might join the paddle gang going forward?
Let's see. Let's see how it feels in the car tomorrow. How demanding it's going to be the weekend.
Look, let's talk about you coming back to Qatar, because of course it was here 2 years ago that you got your first podium of your comeback. You excited to be back?
Yeah, definitely. I think the track is quite nice to drive. I think it powers a little bit the Formula One, the aerodynamics and the high-speed corners really, it pumps up the adrenaline while driving. And yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit different. New asphalt, new facilities as well in the paddock, and hopefully a good fun.
How different will the track feel, do you think, in the new generation cars compared to the 21 cars?
I think it's going to feel better, to be honest. I think the new generation of cars, they've been quite okay at high-speed corners and struggling a little bit in the slow-speed corners, and here it's all about high speed. So I think the cars will feel good. And yeah, I think the question mark is the new asphalt, how grippy it is and how dusty it's going to be in the free practice one. But yeah, the sprint weekend obviously will add spice to everything.
What about your hopes for the weekend? Are we expecting similar to Suzuka, do you think?
I guess so. I think it's going to be not too much of a difference. I don't think anyone is bringing big upgrades to this weekend, and the characteristics of the car and the circuits are quite similar to Suzuka. So I guess it's going to be not too different.
And what about the battle in the Constructors' Championship with McLaren? Lando Norris seemed very confident after Suzuka that they can close the gap.
Yeah, obviously they are they have the momentum for sure, and they've been quite fast. But every weekend we see up and downs for everybody. They've been very strong before the August break in Austria, in Silverstone. I think they were close to being both in the podiums in Silverstone and then in Zandvoort. We were on the podium and they struggling a little bit. So it's good if they are overconfident, and let's see if we can beat them in Abu Dhabi.
All right, best of luck. Thank you, Fernando. Joe, thank you for waiting. So give us your first impressions of this Lusail track, because you didn't race here 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. A lot of medium high speed, which I really enjoyed it. And especially the heat, I think, this weekend. I didn't expect that, to be honest, coming here. So humid as well. So it'll be a tough, let's say, challenging, demanding weekend for all the drivers, that's for sure.
And what about the upgrades that you have on your car? You introduced them in Singapore, got to know them better in Suzuka. What have you learnt since Suzuka that could help you here?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely helping us moving forward, but nevertheless, most of other team is bringing also a big package into last two races, so the gap kind of maintained very similar, but we do feel like we had a reasonably good, let's say, strong racecraft in Suzuka, and we are just missing quite a bit on Saturday. So I think, if we can start further up and having a cleaner qualify session, then we can definitely be there fighting for the points. But it's not going to be a, let's say, easy end of the season, but we will never give up. We'll just keep pushing to the end.
Joe, final one from me. In Suzuka, you had your technical director, James Key, with the team. He said it was a fact-finding mission. What feedback did you give him?
It was really actually useful to have James finally here on the track side, just to see a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes. He was joining, of course, before that on the online meetings, but I think when you actually at the track, you can see a bit more where we're missing and heading to the right direction for the future, especially for next year's car and the development. So yeah, I think it was a very, let's say, strong, straightforward weekend for James to see where we are weak at and where are the, let's say, the points we can maintain for the coming season.
All right, thank you very much. Let's open this to the floor. Name and publication. Yeah, first one.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. I think it's on. I'll raise my voice. Big topic of conversation this weekend is Andretti Racing, although Nico's gift to Kevin of a toilet brush might knock this one off the headlines for a few days. But the FIA have approved on sporting grounds Andretti Racing to take part in Formula One in the future. You often say as drivers that no one hears your opinion or listens to it, but I'm really keen on your opinion on this one. What do you as drivers think of extra competition and potential extra opportunities for yourself in the future should Andretti Racing do a deal with a commercial rights holder?
So a question about Andretti wanting to come into Formula One. Who would like to start with that? Perhaps, Fernando, you'd be a good place to start, having raced for Andretti in the past.
Yeah, a great team, no Michael, and yeah, he will be obviously a great name to add to Formula One. But there are other people in charge of this kind of decisions, and first FIA, and then FOM and the teams as well. So yeah, for me it doesn't I don't know exactly what to say. You know, whatever is the final decision is going to be okay. I like Michael, as I said. I like the organization, but I also understand, you know, other things, and I will support as well, you know, whatever Aston Martin is you know, the position, and you know, I will be okay with anything.
Sergio?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I think it's a good name to have in Formula One, obviously, but at the same time, that decision doesn't really rely on us. So let's wait and see. But it will be a good name and certainly a good team to bring onto the sport, and see what happens in the end.
Okay, Pierre?
Great.
Nothing more to add? Nico? Joey?
Could I just ask, though, in principle, whatever the team is, would you like more competition on the grid? Would you like to be racing against more drivers in the future?
Thanks. We'll speak about the future, but I don't know how many years I will be here. But I don't know. In Formula One, there is not, you know, that much of a battle between, you know, teams, and even if we are 50 on track, you know, we will only fight against 1 or 2 drivers because they have more or less the same package as you have. So. Yeah, there've been, you know, some discussions in the past as well, even having 3 cars per team, you know, things like that. So at the end, you never know what is the best solution. But as I said, I think we have very good people deciding these kind of things. We trust completely the FIA, the FOM. So, you know, we are in good hands.
Welcome back to part 2 of our drivers' press conference here in Qatar. As you can see, we're just debriefing about shoes at the minute, but we have Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri, Esteban Ocon, George Russell and Liam Lawson. Very warm welcome to you all. Alex, let's start with you. So you didn't race here a couple of years ago, so first impressions of the circuit, please.
I haven't done my track walk yet, but I was going to do it at 2 p.m. and then thought better of it due to the outrageous heat. So I'm going to delay the track walk. But it looks amazing. I drove it on the simulator. A lot of fun. I'm interested to see. I don't know if anyone else here has walked it yet, but if the curbs and everything will be interesting, because the track limits might be a thing, I reckon, around here.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of car performance, where do you see Williams here?
I would like to say scraping through Q2 and then hoping for a good lap into Q3. Why is that funny?
Scraping through Q3 or something?
Oh, scraping through Q1, sorry. Yes. Is that what I said?
Oh, yeah. Q2 you said.
Okay,
scraping through Q2, but you meant Q1.
Scraping through Q1.
Which session?
Okay.
Which session, Alex?
I reckon my first lap will be okay, but not great, and then second right. Set I'll be okay.
Good. Well, I'm glad we clarified that. Now, look, what is the mindset, Alex, coming here? Because the last couple of races have been tricky for you.
It has been. I think Singapore, it was quite a tricky track for us always, and I think the temperature didn't help. Suzuka, likewise. I think more than anything, it was the track. The last 2 races have been quite hot and overheating the tyres. So I think we're going to be really good this weekend because it's quite cool, quite cool around here. But it will be okay. As a track, it actually does suit our car. What is interesting is the wind around here. It's a very strong tailwind through most of the corners, and that is not that fun.
Well, Williams is in the recent past have been very wind sensitive. Is it the same with this one?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple more questions from me, if I could. First up, there's increasing speculation as to who your teammate is going to be in 2024. Do you think Logan Sargent deserves a second season in Formula One? Have you seen enough?
I'm not the one to decide, but I know Logan pretty well. I can see his performance. I do think he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. There is a lot of speed and talent within Logan. I think it's just been a little bit offset with a couple of mistakes that he's had. But in all seriousness, I do think he's, I mean, I'm not the one to say it, but I get on very well with him, and I think he just needs a bit more time and confidence, and he'll get up there.
And final one from me. We've seen a few collisions between drivers in recent races, and you have said that 5-second penalties aren't teaching the drivers anything, and I'm quoting you when I say that.
Strong words.
What do you mean by that, and what is the solution?
That was obviously right after I had a crash, but I think the main thing about it is it's not, to be honest with you, thinking back on my words, it's not so much about teaching drivers, it's more the fact that the car that's quicker tends to be able to get away with these incidences quite often position free. But what I mean by that is, for example, if I take my Monza race, I was holding off Lando the whole race, but if he just cut the chicane for one of them laps and overtook me and then pulled away, he would have got a 5-second penalty, but would have pulled away and had nothing done to him. Likewise, if, for example, with Checo in Singapore, he can take that risk because there's a very good chance he can pull that 5 seconds away from me. So it definitely puts drivers in a position where the car behind can be a bit more aggressive than the car in front, as in, if I defend and I do a mistake and I lose and I get a 5-second penalty, quite often more than not, I'm going to lose 2 or 3 positions because I'm holding up a train. And so there's a bit of a... what's so funny? Am I ranting? So that's it.
Okay, all right. And is there a solution? Is there a short solution that you can tell us about now?
Disqualification. Yes. I do know we, as drivers, we want consistency, but there is a genuine feeling that it is very hard to be consistent in these positions. And I understand, and I do sympathise with the FIA that it's not that easy to do. What would you do, George? So I don't have an answer, but I think there is. Well, I mean, if you gave me a bit more time and a bit more time to talk, I would come up with an answer.
All right, Alex, thank you for your time, and good luck this weekend. Oscar, let's bring it on to you now. Game of paddle last night with the man on your right. Have you had your first victory of the weekend so far, or your first defeat?
Both. We played a few games, tiebreakers, but yeah, a couple of both. So yeah, not getting my expectations too high.
All right. Well, look, huge race for you in Japan, of course, with the first podium. You've been back at the MTC since then, celebrating with the team. What was the mood in the camp?
Yeah, very, very happy. I'd like to hope that they were quite happy after that weekend, but no, just very happy. But I think also now it's, which is also quite an exciting feeling, is that it's in some ways less exciting than the first podium, because we've had a couple now, obviously. So I think it's becoming somewhat more normal for us, which is a very exciting place to be in. And yeah, I think we're hungry for more. So yeah, very, very happy. The team were very celebratory towards me for the first podium, of course. But yeah, I think there's the kind of sense that we can achieve that more often now, and of course we're trying to set our sights on even further ahead.
Well, what about this weekend? Lots of fast corners, like at Suzuka. So are you feeling quite confident coming into the weekend?
I think it should suit us reasonably well. Obviously, the high-speed corners are nice for us, but it's going to be a very hot weekend. It's a sprint weekend, some unknowns on the track, and we're also quite sensitive to stuff like that. So, yeah, on paper it looks reasonable, but I don't think we'll know fully until tomorrow.
Look, final one from me. The race pace on Sunday. You said after your podium in Japan that you weren't fast enough in the race. Having debriefed with Tom and your engineers, do you understand why, and can you make changes for this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. We went through it all properly, and I think it's part of the learning experience. Going to these new circuits and high deg kind of races. So yeah, we've gone through it all, and hopefully we can improve on it next time.
All right, best of luck. Thank you to you. Esteban, coming to you now. So you enjoyed the paddle with the man on your left?
It was great fun, yeah. It was a good little heat acclimatization. So, yeah, it was good. It was good. We had fun.
33 degrees. I saw it on the gram.
Very precise. Yeah, you're stalking my Instagram, Tom. I'm not scared at all.
Now, Suzuka, double points finish for the team. Nice for you, particularly after a couple of difficult races. So nice to get some points back on the board.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously it's been quite a few races that we were supposed to score points, and unfortunately we didn't manage to finish those. So it was nice to finally have a double points finish for the team. A strong weekend, I would say, as a whole, especially the race, which was a good one in terms of pace, of overtaking after a difficult start. So yeah, I think we can be proud of that one. And obviously this weekend we are bringing some small updates to the car. So we hope that this is going to bring us some more performance.
Esteban, what about that last lap when you passed your teammate just coming around the final corner? Because he seemed still to be frustrated. When we spoke to him half an hour ago, he was monosyllabic on the subject, not wanting to answer questions. What are the rules of engagement at Alpine? What was your interpretation of what happened on that final lap in Suzuka?
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed it internally, which is the most important, and we know where we are going, from now. But it's been a similar thing a couple of years ago. With Daniel, as I said, with Fernando, we've made those switches from one side or another. And the important for us as a team is to maximize, the result that we can get. And we try and do that in that race. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get, one more position, so we made the switch back. Yeah, I mean, now we know where we're going with the team, and that's the most important.
Do you understand Pierre's frustrations?
I'm always on the side of I prefer to race. Doesn't matter what there is to gain in front. They shouldn't be artificial racing, in any way. And I'm more of an old school guy on that one. And I just prefer to race. Doesn't matter what the circumstances is, even if there is, a podium to get in front. But I also understand the side of the team, which is, to try and get as much points as we can, which is normal. So, you need to understand both.
Look, final one. You've been at the team for a while. Luca De Meo came to Enstone last week, spoke to the whole team, including both the drivers. How inspirational did you find that speech? And was the messaging similar to previous speeches that you've listened to?
Yeah, I mean, I was having, performance meetings on that day. And obviously, yes, I attended the speech of Luca. And, Luca came in to reaffirm and motivate, everyone inside the factory. It was good that obviously he visited us. He replied to a lot of questions as well from everyone. And yes, of course, there's things that we need to improve, and we are on that way to be doing that. And I'm sure that we are going to be able to achieve it in the future.
All right, thank you, and best of luck to you this weekend. George, coming to you now. So more paddle here. I feel I have to start almost every conversation with a paddle conversation because it's what seems to be going on when you arrive at a new racetrack.
Yeah, I think golf is out the window for most of the drivers now. It's into paddle, but it's it's such a great sport, and it's good to get together and have a bit of a game before the race.
Now, I've just spoken about Pierre Gasly's frustrations after the race in Japan. You struck me as a frustrated figure as well. Having debriefed with the team and spoken to Toto Wolff, how do you reflect on that race?
Yeah, I think there's not really much more to say, to be honest. We was on different strategies, obviously, when you're in the car. And as I said, straight away, emotions are running high. It's a long race, physical race, trying to make, the one-stop work. But at the end of the day, we're on different strategies. And, I can circle back to Miami this year when the roles were reversed and we're on different strategies. And the team came in to say, let's not hold one another up. So, yeah, nothing more to say from my side.
And were you happy to be on that one-stop strategy?
Yeah, because I think we would have finished P7 regardless, even if it was on the two-stop. It gave us a small opportunity to get a much bigger result, but we knew it was definitely a long shot. But I think in the position we are at the moment, in a race like that, we've got to roll the dice, and there was nothing gained, nothing lost.
Okay, and this racetrack's got lots of fast corners, similar to Suzuka. So do you think you're going to have to roll the dice again this weekend?
Yeah, I think the sprint race mixes things up a little bit, but for sure, McLaren are going to be really quick here. I think, as we saw in Suzuka, obviously Max as always week in, week out. So that will be a challenge. Our fight is with Ferrari at the moment. P2 in the Teams Championship is our goal to achieve. So that's what we're chasing.
20 points, the difference between you and Ferrari. How intense is it? How predictable is it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close towards the end of the season. I think there's been a lot of missed opportunities on my side this season, so we should have had that sewn up already. But I'm confident we can secure that while still on the journey, putting a huge amount of emphasis on next year's car, because that's P2 is obviously very important, but making sure we hit the ground running next season is the most important.
Great, thank you. Best of luck to you. Liam, thank you for waiting. Good to see you again. Can you clarify, when did you get the nod from the team that you were racing this weekend?
On Monday. So I was sitting at lunch and I had a random number call me, and it was a FaceTime. So I was really confused because people don't just FaceTime randomly. So I answered it, and it was just Daniel's face. And he basically said that he thought he'd let me have another weekend. So, yeah, obviously good to be back, good to be in the car this weekend. A different circuit, but I'm excited.
How difficult is it for you living race by race? How does it affect your preparation?
I think, to be honest, after Japan, I guess it was looking more likely that we'd be driving, so we just carried on preparing like normal. So I just kind of, obviously I didn't assume I was driving, but we just prepped like a normal situation like I would be. So I think, yeah, it's a bit different. Obviously I want to be here full time, but just trying to make the most of this. And
during that FaceTime on Monday, did Daniel give you any indication as to whether he'll be back for Austin? How long is he going to give you in the car, effectively?
I think that's definitely the target. I think that's more likely. I think, yeah, I would say it's more likely that he'll be back in Austin. But obviously, I can't say for certain. But yeah, obviously, we have over a week to give more time to be ready for it. So I would say it's probably Austin.
And how are you approaching your George? About to ask a question, Liam. How are you approaching the F1 sprint this weekend?
I think it's going to be quite tough. Obviously, my first sprint weekend, we have less practice time. I mean, it's the same for everybody, but obviously I haven't been here before, so I think, yeah, it's going to be different. But I'm excited to at least experience a sprint weekend before I step back again.
And what about the racetrack? First impressions? Have you walked the track?
No, not yet. I think all of us are waiting for it to be as cool as possible, so we'll do that a bit later, but it looks, at least from simulator, it looks pretty cool. It just looks very fast, lots of high speed, so I don't know how we're going to fare this weekend in terms of pace, but I'm excited to drive the track.
All right, look, best of luck to you. Thank you all. Let's open this to the floor now. As ever, name and publication. Yep.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. It's a question to all of you because you've all got views on this, I'm sure. As drivers, congratulations, you made it into Formula One. Liam, we hope you're going to be around for a long time to come, even after Daniel gets his seat back. But there's the possibility of an 11th team. The FIA have approved Andretti Racing, but there's a lot of hoops to go through. But as drivers, do you want to see an 11th team on the grid? Would it be better for you in terms of racing against more drivers, and would it help drivers like yourself, Liam, who might be struggling to get into Formula One because the seats just aren't there at the moment?
Who'd like to start with that? Well, Liam, why don't we start with you? Just would it help a guy like you get a permanent seat?
Yeah, in my situation, I think yes, it could definitely help. Obviously, having more cars on the grid for racing, but it's something I've never really thought about because it's always just been 10 teams like this. So yeah, I'm honestly, I don't really know. I think specifically for someone like me, yes, it can help make that step in Formula One.
I think it's Formula One's the pinnacle, and we want to see quality competition. So I'm not for, I'm not against. but definitely if there were to be an extra team, it's got to be a quality outfit, one that can add to the sport. And we want to see competition. In an ideal world, you want to see all 10 teams fighting against one another. So I'm sure F1 will come to the best conclusion and answer, whatever it may be, but it's just we've got to have quality over quantity. But as I said, I don't feel strongly.
I think it's great to see that there's so many interest for Formula One at the moment, and that the sport obviously attracts a lot of new partners, a lot of big names in general. But I don't know what the future will hold. And as I said, as Josh said, F1 of course will come to a conclusion soon. So we should know pretty soon.
As George and Esteban have said, it's up to F1 now to decide. I think it could create opportunities for younger people coming through. But as George said, it needs to be a team that is going to bring value to the sport, of course. So up to F1.
Not much more to add.
There's going to be loads of action across this weekend. F1, our main priority, of course. We get underway with free practice tomorrow and qualifying. Saturday in the morning, you get the sprint shootout, followed by the sprint race in the afternoon. That could be a title decider. And then, of course, on Sunday, the Grand Prix coverage. We've also got the touring cars on this weekend as well. 3 races, plus the practice and qualifying is coming your way. The final weekend at Brands Hatch. Well, join us throughout here on JB Motorsports for all the action from the Qatar Grand Prix. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.